From the writer's room at the 10-Speed and Brown Shoe production office, it's the IGN Digigods. And now, two men who spend their days solving crimes, but their nights solving different crimes. Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Another good one, Bob, sent in to us by faithful listener
John Hartzell. Middle-Age Riot.
That's right. I always want to keep plugging John's cartoon there, his comic strip.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Let's do it.
It's a good one.
It is.
Mark, what a
Yes.
week it's been.
It has?
Hasn't it?
I don't know.
Just the ongoing Charlie Sheen meltdown.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah,
It really is. It's.
I feel so bad. I mean, he just doesn't realize that he's in the throes of something horrible.
I think he is. I think he is so invested in who he thinks he is that I just think that he's literally thinking, no, people don't understand.
No, they understand.
No. He's thinking to himself.
Yeah.
He's like, no, people don't understand. I'm Charlie Sheen. Whatever other people deal with or face in this situation, not me. I think he really. I mean, again, I've said this earlier. I believe he literally is insane. Something happened. Like if you tried him, you would have to let him go on by reason of insanity.
Well,
he does not know the difference. He does not know the difference between right and wrong.
You know, experts have weighed in, or certainly some experts, and without being able to diagnose him, but just at a distance, they're all saying this is just like classic. These are classic crack symptoms.
Oh, really?
Classic crackhead symptoms. You know.
No, but he has Adonis DNA and.
Exactly,
whatever.
and so do they all.
I do want to get one of those.
You go down to the ghetto, and you'll find yourself some abandoned tenement somewhere. It's filled with people with Adonis DNA.
Exactly.
Filled with.
They inject it in their veins.
Yes.
Whenever they can get a sample.
There you go.
Well, let's talk about more fun stuff.
Oh, DVDs and Blu-rays galore. Yeah. You know, it's a bit of a slow time right now. Things are picking up a little bit, but this is kind of the lull because all the big holiday stuff has now officially come out, and a few Oscar-winning holdbacks are trickling out now. But other than that, we've got a lot of family stuff that's piled up, family and animated, which we should kind of blow through a little bit here. Because I know a lot of people are out there thinking, what is out there for me and for my kids, and what's fun and sweet and adorable? Well, we got a few things here. Blu-ray and DVD combo set, The Reef. Now, fish are always good for a hoot. There was Finding Nemo, and then there was A Shark's Tale, and these kinds of animated things that deal with fish in the undersea world. It's a good place to go because kids love it. And this has some really good voice talent on it. Is it a great story? Not particularly. But it's cute enough, and it kind of pushes all of those wannabe Disney buttons. But here's some of the people who did voices in this thing. This is really terrific. Fran Drescher, great voice for a cartoon, right?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, but look at the first name. Thank God that guy has disappeared.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Thank God he has gone away. He's disappeared. I don't know
kind
if
of
he's,
has. Well, you know what? All of those Freddie Prinze movies didn't really go anywhere, and then Justin Bieber came around and kind of stole his sex appeal.
That guy was so lame. He is so lame. Thank God he disappeared.
Well, yeah, and he's okay in this. He's fine, but
although he does get to sleep with who's the girl from the thing? She gets to sleep with Michelle Gellar. What's her name? Oh, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh yeah, that's right. She kind of fell off the radar too, didn't she? They got married and then they're gone. All those Scooby-Doo movies done.
Poof.
No, but some great voice talent here. Fran Drescher, John Rhys Davies, a great voice. You know, he's always that good deep British voice. R. Lee Ermey, Andy Dick, Rob Schneider. Huh? Come on, give it up for him.
Rob Schneider. I am not giving anything up for Rob Schneider.
Oh, it's just voice talent. It's good stuff. So anyway, the Reef is a cute little film, DVD and Blu-ray, as most of these things are. Also with Blu-ray and DVD combo pack, The Miracle Maker, the story of Jesus. This is coming out just in time for
Christmas?
Easter. This is Easter we're talking about now. A lot of that's just around the corner, and this is actually really interesting. Whether or not you're religious, whether or not you're Christian, this is really interesting from a stop motion animation standpoint because it's actually quite well done. It's a bit odd that they would choose to tell the story in this way. Kind of makes me remember Davy and Goliath back in the day.
Oh, sure. Those are great.
Those are great.
You know what? I was Jewish. I was barely religious as it was back then, but I used to love those Davy and Goliaths. They were classic morality tales.
Yeah. Well, this is a little bit in that vein, although a little not quite so subtle. And I credit the involvement of the BBC in this. BBC really kind of elevated this to another level. But there's some good extras here. A little making of stuff, audio commentary with the producer and the director, storyboard tidbit. So that's very, very well done on Blu-ray, I'll say. The Blu-ray really is an exceptional job. You can see the thumbprints in the clay. I kid you not. It's very impressive.
Please.
And then also, DVD Blu-ray combo, Jonah, a VeggieTales movie. Now, I'm going to have to just cop to people who tell me that the VeggieTales are so awesome that I just can't comprehend it, because I just don't understand the point of this.
You know why? Because Jonah of the VeggieTales,
yeah,
he has Adonis blood.
That's
Adonis
exactly
DNA.
what it is.
What does he have? He has tiger blood.
Tiger blood and Adonis DNA.
Okay, that's what Jonah has.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, there's a lot of stuff on here. The Blu-ray, again, is really the only way to watch this, but it's this is CGI stuff, and I'm just not... I don't get the VeggieTales thing. I really don't. But this was apparently somewhat popular with kids, and there's a lot of audio commentary talent here. Everybody from the director of animation to to Larry the Cucumber himself. And a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, kind of shows you how all this VeggieTales stuff happens, the magic that goes on behind the scenes. And outtakes, believe it or not, all kinds of stuff that just really helps unravel the animation process. Not sure you want to show your kids. It might terrify them a little bit. But, that's Jonah, a VeggieTales movie. And then, Mark, I think we're both a lot more on board with The Secret of Kells, aren't we?
We are, although I'll say this, when I first popped that thing in, because I got a screener because there was a bit of an Academy Award push for that thing, or at least a LAFCA push for it.
A year ago.
Yeah. I thought it was so dense that I just had to stop watching it and then watch it like the next day, because I wasn't into something, a story told so uniquely.
Well, yeah, it is. It's one of those, The Illusionist, more recently, is a little bit dense in similar ways, and this is what you get with European animation. They're not interested in just giving you a really simple children's morality tale on a cookie.
On a cookie?
On a cookie, or on a cracker. The Secret of Kells actually is rooted in Celtic mythology, and it's a very elaborate and incredibly cool and very different style of animation. And it was nominated for an Oscar, very deservedly, did not win, but probably should have. And this is first rate. It's on Blu-ray. And it also has a DVD on it, like all the others, but forget about the DVD. The Blu-ray is the only way to watch this. It's really first-rate animation. You fully appreciate it that way. Our good friend Charles Solomon is a huge fan of this, and Charles Solomon is the guru of animation at the LA Film Critics. Also a film critic. He's an animation critic for Amazon. But a lot of really cool extras here, including stuff on the voice recording sessions. And Brendan Gleeson is just the man. I just can't say enough great stuff about him. But The Secret of Kells for animation fans. Kids may find it a little, like Mark said, it's a little bit dense. Kids might not totally gravitate to it. But, give them time. Give them time. Give them a little bit of time.
Well, give them time to enjoy, oh, God, the Backyardigans. We are pirates.
I know.
This is 4 episodes of the Nickelodeon show, and each one has to do with pirates. Pirate Camp, Pirate Treasure, Sinbad Sails Alone, The Tale of the Not-So-Nice Dragon. The Backyardigans are so rudimentary. It is really hard for me to critique this. There's a blue
it's got a following, and if you're part of it, you are. If you're not, don't even bother.
Exactly. There's no extras on this thing. Just the 4 episodes, and you know what? It's the Backyardigans. What can I tell you?
We are pirates. Woo. Also, still in the same vein with Nickelodeon, still in a Nickelodeon mode here, is the unexpectedly successful Nickelodeon phenomenon of SpongeBob. SpongeBob SquarePants in the Great Patty Caper. I still don't get SpongeBob. He's a sponge, and he talks, and he lives in the bottom of the ocean. I don't get it. But here's what you get here. You get a bunch of SpongeBob adventures. The Great Patty Caper. Growth Spout. Stuck in the Ringer. Someone's in the kitchen with Sandy. The Inside Job. That won the Oscar. Not this one. Greasy Buffoons and Model Sponge. Well, we're going to be talking about the real Inside Job shortly. But you know what? All this stuff, kids love it. I get excruciatingly bored in about 10 seconds. So, not much by way of extras. But look, SpongeBob, does it really need any introduction? Honestly, tell me. Scooby-Doo, Mystery Incorporated, Season 1, Volume 1. I loved Scooby-Doo growing up. I'm not so keen on what they have done to it more recently. This is kind of... look, Scooby-Doo started in the 60s, for crying out loud. So this has been going on a long time, and I'm not really sure that we need more Scooby-Doo. I think they've kind of done the whole Scooby-Doo thing to death, and the way they're animating it now, I'm not a fan of. I don't particularly like the writing now. Maybe I'm too old for it, but... just doing it all over again feels like they're belaboring the point. And the animation's not as good as it was originally.
You know what's not as good as it was originally? Tom and Jerry.
That too.
Yeah, Tom and Jerry Volume 1, Fur-Flying Adventures, 14 cartoons, about an hour's worth. I don't like these new Tom and Jerry's. They're just not as good as the classics.
It's like the Scooby-Doos.
Look, it is like the Scooby-Doos. Look, the Tom and Jerry cartoons began in 1965. Hanna-Barbera did them.
Yeah.
They were just terrific.
They were great.
Even in the 60s, they were on CBS's Saturday morning schedule. They were just really fun. They've been in and out ever since. There was a second Hanna-Barbera era from 75 to 77. Now the Filmation stuff I didn't like because I don't like Filmation. And then after that, I kind of just got, there was like Tom and Jerry's Kids, and it's just all so lame. I just think that the ones from the 60s are the classics, and the 70s too. But once you get into the Filmation stuff, not that great. And I'm gonna say pass on Fur-Flying Adventures.
I do not have a daughter. I am not a girl. So I don't really understand the obsession with ballet, but I'm sure a lot of people out there have little girls who don't want to do their ballet lessons, and you know what? That's when you whip out the DVD of Angelina Ballerina Ballet Dreams, and you show it to her, and then she won't complain about ballet class anymore.
No, she'll complain.
Yeah, she probably will. This is CGI animated. Angelina Ballerina is a little mouse who... is aspiring to be a great ballerina, and this is that's the whole thing here is really pretty obvious. It's meant to just be a way of assuaging children so that their parents don't have to press them to go to ballet class anymore. Specifically girls. This is from Hit Entertainment, who does a lot of decent family stuff. I don't really get it, but look, this is almost like a utility DVD. It's like how to fix your toilet. How to make your daughter go to ballet class, and whip that one out. A little still for the girls, Madeline on the Town. Now, Madeline, I really enjoy the animation of. The nice thing about Madeline is that it's, as everyone knows, this has a long and deep following. It's a classic. This is children's classic stuff. The books are great. The animation tries to be as good as the books and doesn't quite pull it off, but you know what? It's still awfully engaging. The animation, the artwork, it's faithful to what the original artwork was in the books. And for that alone, it's worth a recommendation. This is from Shout Factory's children's line, Shout Kids. And you get 6 adventures here. Madeline in the wedding, Madeline on stage, Madeline at the fashion show, Madeline at the ballet, Madeline at the costume party, and Madeline's birthday at the zoo. So again, writing's not as strong as it should be, probably given the pedigree, but the animation really is first rate. And then we got this thing here called Reboot, which I had never heard of before. This is seasons 1 and 2 of Reboot. This comes to us from Shout Factory. And it kind of creeped me out a little bit when it arrived because you look at it and you go, okay, I get it. It's CGI animation. Looks a little bit anime inspired. It's kind of creepy though. There's some these characters have green and purple skin. I don't understand. What is this thing, and how did I miss 2 seasons of it? Well, without getting into too many details, this is kind of a cyber tale thing, and it's sort of Tron-like-ish. Everything kind of takes place in a digital world, and this is allegedly the very first entirely computer-animated half-hour TV series. It was originally on television in 1994, at which point I completely missed it, and now it's finally out on DVD, the first 2 seasons. It is, there's still a lot of very bad CGI animated stuff in television these days, but it hasn't come that far. Now, this thing is, again, it's better now than it was originally, but it's now, go figure. We're a decade and a half past, and they're bringing reboot back. So that's what Shout Factory does. They dig up the goodies and they bring them back.
We like the Shout Factory.
We do.
Beyblade Metal Fusion Volume 3. This is the Cartoon Network show. What kind of annoys me is that they only put like 7 episodes on
I know.
one of these DVDs.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Beyblade is that whole, it's anime, but it's more accessible anime.
It's a little more accessible, but still it's like, the search for the Ginka and the Beyblade mentor, and it's all just too, you know what? Give me back Tom and Jerry.
Okay.
Beyblade, starring Tom and Jerry. I'm not into this kind of stuff, but if you are, you may dig Volume 3 of Beyblade Metal Fusion.
Beyblade, the gay blade. Maybe not.
I'll get it.
Alrighty. The Chosen One is, as you might imagine, a Chosen One story, from slacker to superhero. This actually won the Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival's Best Experimental Film Award. I'm not sure why. It ain't that experimental. But it actually is pretty fun. It's I've seen worse animated films, to be honest. And this one's not brilliant animation, but it's actually relatively well written and has some interesting voice talent in it. I always look for the cool voice talent. And, Lance Henriksen hasn't done anything in ages. Tim Curry has kind of vanished. And it's nice to see them show up with, of all people, Tracy Lords and Chris Sarandon. So they're, they went out of their way to actually get some interesting voice talent, not the obvious voice talent. And as far as those, underdog tales go, it ain't bad. It's all right. If you're kind of an underdog loser or slacker, and you
that's me. I'm an underdog loser.
Well, this is the story of how you can become a hero.
Yay!
It's a Luke Skywalker-y kind of thing. Why not?
Yay!
Elmo's World, Penguins and Friends. I like Muppets. I don't like Elmo. Elmo is the exception to the whole Muppet world of Jim Henson's creation that I just don't like. But you know what? You get 3 episodes from Elmo's World that are just filled with. They're here because they deal with animals. Penguin pals, hop to it, and horsing around. Look, I'm not 4, so I just don't get Elmo. I kind of want to punch Elmo most of the time.
A, you are 4. And
yeah.
B, I don't know.
Mill Creek releases a lot of public domain stuff. They release a lot of TV stuff that they've licensed from other companies. But they also do a lot of good family stuff. And here we've got Johnny Test. Now, this is the first 2 seasons of the Cartoon Network series Johnny Test, not to be confused with Johnny Quest. This is Johnny Test.
Not to be confused with Johnny Quiz.
Okay. And this is the first 2 seasons, 26 episodes, real good bargain here. This isn't like 5 or 6 or 7 episodes or even 3 like we were just talking about with Elmo. This is 26 episodes. So this will, as far as digital babysitters go, this will keep the kids preoccupied for a good long time. Like all day. You'll even forget that you have children. And you get 5 bonus episodes from other series here. World of Quest and Gadget Boy, Potatoes and Dragons, Nano Boy. Not bad. The whole idea of Johnny Test, it's all right. It's Johnny Quest-like in some respects. I think that's why they tried to suggest a connection between the two with the title. We like the dog, though. Dookie the dog, very cool. Very, very cool. So, that's worth a look. Cops, this is also from Mill Creek. Cops has fewer episodes, 10 episodes. And this is a little bit more muscular for the boys in the family. The girls won't enjoy this. It's a rock'em sock'em super cop kind of show, and it's got everything except RoboCop, but the sensibilities are straight up RoboCop. And this, unfortunately, is a tie-in with Hasbro because there's a whole toy line that this is apparently inspired by, a la G.I. Joe. But considering that it's shameless and otherwise overly commercialized, the shows aren't terrible. They're actually relatively entertaining, and this will keep the kids busy for about 4 hours. So, this was done, by the way, in the 80s. I didn't realize it's been that long. I remember when that came out. It feels like it was just like a decade ago, but it's more than 2 decades ago. Isn't that crazy?
You love Cops.
Yeah, totally.
Now, so this isn't the Bad Boys, what you gonna do?
No, it's not.
Cops.
No, not that Cops.
I understand.
Not even remotely that Cops. Let's roll through the rest of this. Still in the Mill Creek line, we got a couple of Paddington Bear discs here. There's Marmalade Madness, 28 episodes. And Paddington Bear, the complete classic series, 56 episodes, including 3 half-hour TV specials and 15 bonus episodes.
Marmalade
Oh my gosh.
Madness.
What will we do with all the Paddington Bear? Mark, Paddington Bear, come on.
Marmalade Madness.
But Mark, it's Paddington Bear.
You know what? I would shoot that bear. That's what I would do. I'd skin him, and I'd make a rug out of him.
Nah, I'm kind of with you there.
Stupid bear.
I never understood the Paddington Bear obsession either. But kids love this thing. I don't know. Paddington Bear, based on the books by Michael Bond. And this the only thing that makes this a little bearable is the fact that it's UK produced. Whenever this stuff comes out of the UK, I feel a little bit of Teletubby-ness in the background, making it more tolerable. And of course, this is not animation per se. It's not cell animation. This is it's
like stop motion. It's like an actual.
It's stop motion.
Watch
It's like its own. It's its own funky thing. It's stylistically very interesting. At least they're thinking about it. They're trying to do something a little bit more novel and unusual.
Well, there's nothing more novel and unusual. Why are we talking? You know what? Seriously, here's the thing. We can't make qualitative judgments on things like Timmy Time.
I know.
Because really, you have to be 3 to know whether it's good or not. And you know what?
We have 3-year-old listeners, don't we?
I'm 3-year-old.
These are the parents we're making these references to.
Interesting. That could be true.
Yeah.
Good spin.
Thank you.
Timmy steals the show. Timmy takes center stage at preschool.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. There's 5 playful performances from... now, by the way, here's the thing. You really can't make fun of Timmy Time because you realize that the guys who created this are the creators of Wallace and Gromit.
I know.
And Shaun the Sheep.
Yeah.
So you really can't be making fun of it.
But it's still pretty... It's still pretty kiddie-oriented.
That is true, but Nick Park, and he's an EP on this thing. And we got 5 performances. Timmy steals the show. Timmy's picnic. Timmy brings a smile. Timmy can't dance, and Timmy gets taken away by child services.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. I said that to see if you were paying attention.
Of course, I was paying attention. Invader Zim, Operation Doom. See, now this is
Are we done talking about these
almost. We're getting close.
That
getting close. There's a few superhero things in there that we got to get to. Because it's getting to be superhero season with the summer coming up and all that. We got the Thor and the Avengers and all that junk.
I don't know what to make of Thor. I just don't know what to make of that thing.
I'm just hoping that Branagh can pull it off.
I know.
He's never made a movie like that though.
I'm not.
I look at the trailer and I go, this could be incredibly cool and fun, or it could just be the most horrendous abortion I have ever seen on film.
But will it be fun? Will it be brooding? Will it be Shakespearean? I don't know what he's going to bring to it.
I don't either.
And
Captain America, likewise. I mean, I'm glad that with Captain America, they're going the World War II route, which is what he originally was. He's a World War II hero. I'm glad they're going back in time with that, but I don't know where they're going to go with that either.
Well, the director is not all that talented.
Who's the director?
Joe Johnston.
Really?
No. Hang on.
Joe Johnston?
Yeah, hang on. Captain.
As in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Joe Johnston?
Yeah, Joe Johnston.
Yeah, Joe Johnston's a good guy. I trust him more than I trust Zack Snyder.
Well, okay. Joe Johnston's last film, The Wolfman.
Yeah, I know, but was that his fault?
So was.
Yeah. Anyway, Invader Zim, Operation Doom. You know what I like about Invader Zim? I like the fact that it's kind of really edgy, cool, aggressive animation. And this is from Nicktoons, and it's a little edgier than what you would normally get. So I can appreciate the edginess. Because look, I mean, it's Invader Zim. Give me a break. It's dark and it's a little bit cynical, and the animation is really, really cool. You get a slew of episodes here, about a dozen episodes, and more than that, it's like 15 or 16 episodes. and that's better. That's much better. So we appreciate the effort there. Pop Goes Thomas is from Thomas and Friends. Thomas, of course, is that really freaky, terrifying, scary train with a face, and that freaks me out. This is from Hit Entertainment as well. I can't abide anything to do with Thomas the Train because it gives me freaking nightmares. Animation's not bad. And then in the getting into the superhero vein of things, to wrap all of this out, we have from DC Universe the original movie All-Star Superman. These Warner and DC animated specials are hit and miss. The Batman ones have typically been really pretty good. The All-Star Superman is decent. It's not as good as their best Batman ones, but you know what? It makes me wonder why they can't do. Because honestly, this is better than the Bryan Singer Superman. I'll say that.
Really?
Yeah,
that says a lot.
It's a better script. You know, maybe they should be hiring the guys who write the scripts for these things. Dwayne McDuffie wrote this. You know, it's like hire Dwayne McDuffie to write the feature. You know, don't go hiring these like multi-billion-dollar screenwriters who give you a crap script. I mean, this guy actually has sort of an appreciation for what Superman's all about and gives it a good comic flavor. So, you know, give these guys a shot. You don't have to go with the obvious A-listers. And then the Marvel end of things from Cartoon Network, we've got a Volume 3 of the Superhero Squad show, Quest for the Infinity Sword. You know, Mark and I are on the record as not being fond of, taking movie characters and TV characters and making them kids, as though, like, you know, Baby Thor and Baby Iron Man and they were all pals and fighting crime when they were little kids. Very peculiar. But you know what? This has its moments. And
no, it doesn't.
No, all right, maybe it doesn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes here. It has a following. I'm not among them. And then lastly, before we get into other more interesting things, Mark's happy. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Volume 2. This is 20 whopping episodes from Classic Media, and by way of Mill Creek. And, you know, there have been a number of incarnations of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and I'm not a He-Man fan. There's something incredibly, I don't know. What is it, Mark? What bothers me about this guy? Maybe it's the haircut. It's the haircut.
He's too gay.
I guess. It's the haircut. No, it's what it is. It's the page boy haircut. It's the Prince of Valiant looking thing that he's got going. And the fact that his enemy, his arch nemesis, is the former First Lady of the state of California.
Maria Shriver?
There you go. Connect the dots. Come on.
What do you mean?
Skeletor. Maria Shriver.
Oh, I get it.
It's late at night, folks. It's late at night. We're not as sharp as we normally are. Anyway, 20 episodes here, including... And look, I watched this as a kid a little bit, too, and didn't particularly get it then, but there's a few here that are, reasonably decent for this era of animation. Evil Seed, The Dragon's Gift, Double-Edged Sword, and Prince Adam No More. Not bad. All right, Mark.
Yes?
We've got documentaries, some very good documentaries.
We got
including an Oscar winner in here. But we've also got a little bit of TV.
Yes.
And we got a little bit of foreign film. We got an interesting line of Tribeca movies that we should talk about at a certain point. And then we've got new movies. Where do we go?
I think because we bored the hell out of everybody with all this kid crap, time for new movies.
All right, Mark. She was the co-host of the Oscars.
It's Love and Other Drugs, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and the delicious Anne Hathaway.
You really do think Anne Hathaway's delicious?
I do. However, I'll say that she's very... here's the thing. She's one of those actors, and it's really a shame where... like 90% of the angles that you see Anne Hathaway in, she looks beautiful. But then there's that 10%
where you just see a mouth.
You just see a mouth. And it's a little weird. It's very off-putting. You're like... And now no, actually, you didn't see her in person. I saw her in person.
Yeah, I've never seen her in person. You were at the Fox Searchlight party.
I went at the Fox Searchlight party and was completely thrilled to stare at Anne Hathaway. And by the way, she's tall. Very thin, thinner than I thought she'd be, with very much, it's kind of like Marissa Tomei. Little, tiny, delicate China doll facial features. That is Anne Hathaway. Anyway, this film was directed for some reason by Ed Zwick, who doesn't do these sorts of movies, and here he is doing a movie about two people who just kind of fall in love.
The question is, the nude scene that has been made so much of, what's the deal on that?
Well, everyone's nude.
Yeah,
well,
but
not like his wang hanging out nude.
Is she like scandalously nude in the scene?
Yeah, actually, it's surprisingly nude.
Okay.
He plays a Viagra salesman for some reason, and she's got a medical problem.
Mm-hmm. I see.
And they fall in love.
Okay.
You know what? I guess I understand what Ed Zwick's trying to do, but I just really did not groove on this movie.
How's Blu-ray?
You know what? Here's the thing. Most of the movie takes place in this one apartment where they kind of live and hang out and sleep together. So, but it is well shot. It is well shot because you know what? That major set was a soundstage, and they did a very good job lighting it for the different types of days and the different situations, and so it's well shot.
I see.
But the special features include some deleted scenes, an actor's discussion, which is kind of interesting, and a featurette.
There's some BFD Live stuff on here allegedly as well. A whole
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Come on, how could you not?
Behind the scenes junk.
And stuff.
On Blu-ray and on DVD, but not on a combo disc, is the recent the other person who hosted the Oscars. Isn't it funny their movies come out the same week?
No, it's not funny, Wade.
Not at all.
I'm not laughing at all.
The director, the remarkably talented director of The Ape, stars in 127 Hours. That would be James Franco. And, this is a movie that was people were pretty divided on this, and I fell on the negative side. And again, I love Danny Boyle, have nothing but respect for Christian Colson, the producer of the film, who also produced Slumdog Millionaire, because I sat with him a couple of years ago at our awards dinner. Wonderful guy. But I just don't like this movie. I don't like it in the least. This is the story of Aaron Ralston, who, as everybody knows, is the guy who went hiking in the rock formations of southern Utah and got lost and trapped, and a boulder fell on his arm, and the only way that he managed to survive and tell the tale was because he cut his own arm off. To me, that is a story of stupidity. I don't know what the lesson is there. Maybe bring a cell phone, bring a satellite phone, bring a GPS, don't go alone. I don't know, but the movie never really makes the point. It's sort of a movie about an incident and not a story, and I'm not into incidents. And I think Danny Boyle kind of goes a little too far to try to make the movie interesting. You know, there's these weird dream sequences and hallucinations, and it's well made, but I don't need to see this story. And I'm not so sure that Franco, a lot of people love Franco in this. He didn't really do anything for me. That being said, the Blu-ray is an exceptional transfer from 20th Century Fox, who normally does not do good Blu-ray transfers. 20th Century Fox too often phones it in with Blu-ray, but this is sharp, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they shot the movie digitally, which Danny Boyle does very, very well. But the Blu-ray is probably the only way to watch this, and also because sound is such a huge part of this movie. So the lossless audio on a really good system will kind of blow you away. But otherwise, Mark, I'm not a fan.
Wade, you ignorant slut.
All right, tell me why I'm wrong.
I like this movie.
I know you do.
And I like this movie for the same reason I like Black Swan, which is that both movies take place inside the characters' heads.
Well, aren't you the Fox Searchlight shill today?
Why? What else?
No, I'm just saying. Miss Black Swan, also Fox Searchlight. Those were their two big awards films.
Well, but they're good. Black Swan I love. This film I like a lot. I think James Franco commands the screen. I think he's terrific. I think it's a hard part that seems easy because all he's doing is he's staring and yelling at a rock. But you know what? It's tough.
Yeah,
it's a tough role. He did a great job. The Blu-ray looks good. The film is edited and shot and sound mixed within an inch of its life.
It really is. The sound is the thing that just shines in this film.
And I just love how you just sort of go down into the abyss with this guy in his head. You know, it's like he's standing in one place for the whole film, yet you feel like you've been on a journey with him. And I think that says a lot. So
yeah, okay.
I'm totally down with it.
Okay,
I liked it a
lot.
What I liked less is The Next 3 Days. The Next 3 Days is written and directed by Paul Haggis, and Paul Haggis, of course, directed Crash, which I hate.
And I love.
I don't know why you love that movie. I just don't get it.
Won Best Picture.
Huh?
It won Best Picture.
Yeah, because all the actors voted for it. the worst. This film it stars Russell Crowe as like a community college professor whose wife, played by a completely bland Elizabeth Banks, is arrested for murder, thrown in jail, and he decides he's going to bust him out. And the way Haggis does it is it's not really portrayed as a super action thing. He really wants you to feel like just this mild-mannered teacher is going to actually, man up and really try to do this thing. I think that Russell Crowe, I love Russell Crowe. I'm going to actually say he was miscast in this, because the moment you put Russell Crowe in this in a film like this, it just becomes an action film.
Yeah.
He's not a mild-mannered a community college teacher. And I just found it really just not that great. You know what? And Olivia Wilde is in it for some reason, although I think Olivia Wilde is magnificently gorgeous. The last third of it is pretty much the escape attempt, and I will not tell you what happens during it. And I just think that Haggis had this idea of making a movie about, what happens if your spouse becomes somebody you can no longer love in order to get you out of a difficult situation.
Yeah.
But none of that comes through. It's really just an action film.
Wow.
There's 2 discs here. The Blu-ray contains the DVD, but also on the Blu-ray you have a filmmaker's commentary, a couple of deleted scenes, a making of, and it's not bad. It's a good-looking movie, no doubt about that. In fact, you should probably go ahead and get the Blu-ray, especially since it already includes the DVD and a digital copy. But maybe it's a rental, but I just was not a fan of the movie.
Well, Tim League is an interesting guy. Tim League started the Alamo Drafthouse Theater in Austin, Texas, and has since branched out from that very successful exhibition endeavor. Now you got a lot of draft houses around the country, and they have a whole kind of higher-end approach to exhibition of movies, where you can have food served while you're watching the movie and all that kind of junk. And he now has a distribution company called Drafthouse Films, which is a very good development. The first film that they acquired and released, however, was a bit of a mixed bag, and that was Four Lions, which is now out on DVD and Blu-ray. We have the Blu-ray here from Magnolia, so they're obviously going with an output deal through Magnolia. They're not releasing their own stuff just yet. And that's probably right. Magnolia kind of has the same market, and they know that market, so it's a good meeting of the minds. Now, Four Lions was really quite a scandalous success in the UK, which is where the movie hails from. Chris Morris is a British director, co-wrote this with a couple of other people, Jesse Armstrong and Sam Bain. And Chris Morris has a reputation in the UK. Here we don't know him so much, but Chris Morris is known as a guy who is he has a very bitter, dark, and acerbic sense of humor. And that comes through in spades in Four Lions, because I think a lot of people will not know how to deal with this movie. This is about a group of jihadi terrorists and who are planning suicide bombings in the UK. And they are absolutely and totally inept and incompetent. The thing is, it's not like they're portrayed like the Three Stooges or something. These guys are jihadis, and they are seriously intent on doing some damage and killing people. And praise to Allah and all that stuff, and Allahu Akbar. I mean, it's played seriously just enough to where you really feel uncomfortable. And a lot of people are going to really not want to laugh at stuff, even though it's incredibly funny at times and darkly funny. It's been compared a little bit to black comedies like Dr. Strangelove that have similar edge to them, but I think this really, too soon, maybe too soon, but nonetheless very well made. And it's some of it is similar in sensibility to the film that you really liked from a couple of years ago.
You know what? I can't remember the name. It's driving me crazy.
I know.
It's the British film.
Yeah, the British film, Oscar nominated for screenplay.
We gave it best screenplay, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Why can't we remember the name of that movie?
I can't. Hang on.
You'll come up with it. I'll vamp.
Please vamp.
I'll vamp. Anyway, Four Lions wound up on a lot of 10 best lists last year, but did not necessarily make a big showing with our group, which I thought was surprising. I really expected a few people in our voting to say, hey, Four Lions, but nobody did. Anyway, what I do like, again, going back to Tim League, it's a good launch for...
In the Loop.
In the loop, thank you. It's a good launch for Draft House Films, and hopefully, we need more good distributors out there picking up edgy films and different films and kind of mixing it up in the marketplace. So if Draft House can continue to find stuff that others will not release or cannot release and does a good job with it, I think we're going to see a more diverse marketplace for movies, and God knows we sure as hell need it. We always get interesting stuff from Film Movement. We love the people at Film Movement. Go to filmmovement.com to find out more about their Movie of the Month Club or their DVD of the Month Club. It's a great way to get these films before anybody else gets them and to see stuff that gets acclaim at festivals all over the world, but which never makes it into theatrical release here. So you really almost get it's like a film festival delivered to your home every month. And if you're obviously part of the DVD of the Month Club that they have, you get this stuff before it goes to the commercial market. And this is Helena from the Wedding by Joseph Infantolino. This is an American independent film, for a change. And, a lot of movies with the word wedding in the title have been released and bombed over the last few years. But this one, I actually think, is pretty darn good. This is about a couple of newlyweds who are having a party in this mountain cabin, and they have their friends come over, and over the course of the weekend, things happen. And I won't tell you exactly what happens, but it's a good character piece. It's well written. It's very nicely staged. And definitely a film worth watching. Definitely worth a rent at the very least. Written and directed again by Joseph Infantolino. And you, as always with Film Movement, you get a short film here, a little 12-minute short film from Sweden called Awaiting Examination by a director named Elisabeth Gustafsson. And it's a good pair because it's kind of similar in some respects. But this woman, I think, has a really big career in features if she can get the shot. So well done for all of them. A few oldies here. Mark, I'm going to let you get started on some of the docs, but I'm going to just mention some of these oldies that are being released. Olive Films has an output deal with Paramount, where a lot of these old Paramount classics are being picked up and released from Olive, because Paramount just doesn't want to have to deal with it. And bravo, because Olive is going to do a great job with this. Off Limits, directed by George Marshall, is a very, very fun and funny movie from 1952, starring Mickey Rooney, Bob Hope, and Marilyn Maxwell. Now, Mickey Rooney, of course, was just in the news recently because he's accusing his stepson of elder abuse, and that was a really sad testimony before Congress.
Oh my God! Did you see that?
That was really sad.
First of all, Mickey's 90 years old.
I know,
and he's 90 years old, and he's angry and crying.
I know.
It was just bizarre.
It broke
and
my
sad.
heart. It broke my heart, and I've made fun of him as much as anybody else has. Dana Carvey with in the world, that whole shtick that he would do, and that was 10 years ago. But no, it's really, really sad. It's very sad. Well, anyway, this is a younger and more vibrant Mickey Rooney in 1952 with Bob Hope, and Bob Hope is really the star of this movie. He just nails it. The story here is that Bob Hope is a boxing trainer, and he only has one champion fighter who he loses to the draft. So it creates all kinds of problems. And Mickey Rooney is the is the boxer who sort of who steps in. It really very funny work between Bob Hope and Mickey Rooney. They work very well together. And this Marilyn Maxwell, kind of out of her league, but doesn't matter. From the Warner Archive collection, which of course you can access by going to warnerarchive.com. These are DVD-Rs that they burn as you order them. This is directed by Wanda Tuchak and George Nichols Jr. It is called Finishing School. I had never heard of this. This is originally an RKO film that wound up in the Warner Library through all of those mergers over the years. And I got to tell you, this is one of those really fascinating pre-code films that makes you go, interesting. This was meant to be kind of titillating at the time. Nothing of the sort now, but you get an interesting little turn here by a young Ginger Rogers in almost a minor part. But Finishing School really could not have been made just a few years later. This is 1934, and by 1936, 37, you've got the code in full swing, and you could not have been doing anything about girls' schools that dealt with some of the subject matter that this one deals with. So a very interesting film in that regard. And then lastly, just want to make mention of, you got another classic here from the Olive and Paramount licensing agreement. This is On the Double with Danny Kaye and Dana Winter. Anything with Danny Kaye is always worth watching. This is directed by Melville Shavelson, who made more than a few decent films. This is a little bit edgy for its day as well. 1961. It's got some of that Nazi comedy in it that, a few years later, less than a decade later, you had Mel Brooks really capitalizing on that in The Producers. But I think people will be surprised at how forthright this was already in 1961. Danny Kaye was really pushing buttons here. So check that out. It's not bad. Not a great Danny Kaye film, but not bad. And then lastly, I want to make mention of the Blu-ray release of Excalibur. This has been now remastered specifically for Blu-ray. Excalibur was out previously on Blu-ray, but apparently a lot of people complained. So we get a marginally better release now. I don't think it's as good as it should be, because I love Excalibur, one of the seminal films of my movie-going from 1981. You only get the commentary with John Boorman on this, so I am still hoping that they, at some point in the future, and hopefully before the film's 40th anniversary, that they do something much more worthy of this movie. I mean, really deck it out. Give me a Blu-ray book, for crying out loud. Warner Brothers, you do good Blu-ray books for Color Purple and all these other things. Give me something good for Excalibur, would you?
For his 40th in the year
2021.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I just can't believe it's been 30 years since Excalibur. That makes me feel so old.
Just stop.
All right, Mark, what do we got in the world of documentaries?
It's also dire. Speaking of dire, our dependence on oil is dire. So says Josh Tickle. Probably Tickle. He wouldn't want to be known as Josh Tickle.
Oh, that'd be awesome if he were, though.
His documentary is called Fuel, and, I didn't like this documentary. I feel like this guy is, he's sincere, but don't cry on camera. It's really not that important. He gets a bunch of celebrities like Sheryl Crow and Willie Nelson and Neil Young to talk about our dependence on fuel and how horrible it is. Tickell himself spent the 90s driving in a van powered by cooking oil. And so he really walks the walk. And in the documentary, he talks about how terrible oil is. You know, it's just one of those like Michael Moore type, alarmist documentaries that I'm getting a bit tired of. Where, like, he's not just the documentary maker, he's not just the director, he's the star and the big personality, like the Michael Moore guy. And I'm tired of it.
When they make themselves the subject of the documentary, really, yeah.
He cries during this movie. So I would pass on Fuel. What I would not pass on is a movie called Aphrodisiac, The Sexual Secret of Marijuana. This is from Impulse Pictures. This is basically 2 steps away from porn. Let's face it.
Well, this is exploit. This is like one of those quasi documentaries from the Mondo era.
Yeah, it's from 1971. Yeah. It's a quote unquote documentary. So it's almost like what's the classic one? Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness, yeah.
A little bit like that. Yeah. It talks about harvesting weed and drug trafficking and all sorts of, which is actually is in a weird way is a bit educational, but still it's a Mondo film. Don't you worry about that. And special features include nothing.
Well, the thing is, Impulse releases a lot of the kind of like soft-core stuff. These, cult films and softcore films, and this really, it's not as scandalous as it thinks it is, but it's for people who like this kind of stuff. It's a nice thing to add to the collection. You gotta give props to the picture on the cover, though. Come on, tell me that's not a way to market a movie.
Exactly.
It's a picture of a topless woman with basically her top sort of covered, in one hand by some marijuana leaves, and then she's got a joint in her hands. I'm not sure that this picture, if you look at it, it's been substantially photographically doctored.
Really?
Yes.
Wade, there's a sticker on the Blu-ray of Inside Job that says Academy Award nominee, Best Documentary.
They couldn't print out the winner stickers fast enough.
Oh, as you know, it won. It won the Best Documentary last year.
I should have banked on this, so to speak, because there was no way they were going to give Banksy the Oscar, really, was it? They just always go for the obvious political choice with this. This is their statement category.
It is.
And they always go with it. I mean, this was the only one of those films that really kind of fit that profile. I thought they'd go different this year. I thought they'd be done with that, but they didn't.
No, and you know what? When you really want to get a sense of the liberal pedigree of this film, on the back of the DVD, the back of the Blu-ray box, there are little photographs of 4 of the most prominently interviewed people in the doc. They are Barney Frank, Elliot Spitzer, George Soros, and Paul Volcker. That is a murderer's row of liberals. So obviously this is a documentary about the economic scandal and the financial meltdown that started around 2008. And you know what? I got to say, Charles Ferguson, who's taxied to the dark side, also won an Oscar. A very talented guy.
Very.
But you know what? It's just another one of those just...
It just feels like
activists packed with statistics and talking heads, and it's not really telling a story.
Well, that's why I didn't really think. I mean, I should have known just from the track record that this is the film they would go with, but that's why I didn't think they'd go with it. I just thought, you know what? I mean, if you're really looking at a documentary, this is a very conventional documentary. I know it's a really important subject, but it's very conventional. But then again, an inconvenient truth is just a guy doing a PowerPoint.
That is true.
I mean, that's really all that is. They're not, it's not interesting like, but, then again, look, Buena Vista Social Club also lost to a much more conventional documentary. So it is what happens. But Inside Job on Blu-ray, no. Do you need to see this on Blu-ray? Not in the least. But it works on Blu-ray and it works on DVD as well as I guess it can.
That's telling him, Wade.
I'm trying to feign enthusiasm as best I can. I'm tired.
You are tired, and we're tired of you.
It's been a long week.
Why has it been a long week, Wade?
It's just been a long week.
Tell Unky Mark.
I don't know. It's been a long week. I'm working all that tiger blood and albatross venom or whatever the hell. It wears you down.
A very strange recommendation this week. Movie called Bizarre.
Oh, yeah. I know about this. This is a Lloyd Kaufman thing.
This is a Lloyd Kaufman thing, hosted by James Ellroy, one of the great crime writers.
Well, because the whole thing is it's appropriately creepy for Ellroy to tell us this story.
It's a story about
this. Is really creepy.
In 1988, there was this guy who was discovered, I guess by police, running down the street, actually limping down the street, really, wearing a dog collar. And
yep. And that's the most normal part of the story.
And this happened in Kansas City, and it all got traced back to this guy named Bob Bordella, who was from Kansas City, and he was obsessed with the occult, and he had been torturing and murdering these young guys, and this is his story, and it's just, not only is it an interesting story, but the way it's told is interesting. There's interviews, obviously, but there's also really violent reenactments. And there's even like a musical number in it. And it's just a bizarre little movie. In fact, it's called Bizarre. In fact, it's so nice they named it Bizarre twice.
Yes, it's Bizarre, B-A-Z-A-A-R,
and then
Bizarre, B-I-Z-A-R-R-E.
Yes. So this is an extremely strange movie that is not like any documentary you've ever seen. It's good. It's good stuff. Bizarre. Would definitely check it out. Emergency Mine Rescue. It's time for the documentaries about the Chilean miners. Here they are, 33 of them. It was an amazing story. God love them. I know there's some interesting stories coming out now about how they were near suicidal. They didn't want to tell you that part. Also, you realize what they didn't tell you, which has finally come out, is that something did happen to that little tube that was ferrying the miners up and down the shaft. Something happened to that tube during one of the ascensions, and people didn't know that at the time. In fact, it was live in Chile when they brought these guys up, but it was on delay. And when something happened to the tube on the way up, they cut away from the action. That's all that stuff is just getting out now, as well as the actual mental state of these miners. They were like almost suicidal. None of that, of course, is in this thing called Emergency Mine Rescue, which is all about the engineering that went into getting these guys out. Of course, it's an amazing story. They all live. God love them. Can't imagine what I would do in that situation. I'd probably just die. I would just wither and die. I'd kill myself.
You know what? As long as they provided me a Blu-ray player and a television, I could have stayed down there forever.
How would they do that?
I don't know. You drop one down the shaft.
You're out of your mind.
Thank you.
Anyway, it's a good primer on it until something better comes along, or the inevitable film starring like Javier Bardem.
Brad Pitt has the rights, I think, to the movie now.
Does he really?
I think so.
Well, I didn't know that. The best documentary of the week is a little thing called A Film Unfinished.
We like this movie a lot. Although I got to tell you, when I found out that that there are recreations in this, I didn't like that.
Yeah,
that felt a little bit phony to me.
Well, here's the background.
Like the interviews with the guy, and not to give anything away, but there are those interviews with the guy, and he looks like he's the older version of the guy. He's not the guy. He's an actor playing the guy.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the part that made me go, oh,
How'd you find out about that?
You know what? Somebody told me that. Like Tim and I found that out, and at that point, Tim completely revolted against the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you Google it? Is it true?
It's true, yeah. Andy Klein found that out, actually.
Really?
Andy had it. That's actually where it began. Andy had a sneaking suspicion. Because Andy's very good at picking up cues of things that don't ring true, because he's a real wonk for that stuff. And Andy, there were things that just didn't smell right. He was playing Sherlock Holmes with the movie, and he went and researched it and finally pressed the publicists, and they had to sort of and ha, and yeah, it's not the guy.
Really?
Yeah.
That is horrifying.
I know, right? But it's still a great film. I mean, the footage is amazing, and the survivors, their reactions are indelible. So,
well, here's what the movie's about, although now I'll be much more enthusiastic. For years, Holocaust documentaries have been utilizing about an hour's worth of German-shot archival footage of the Warsaw Ghetto. And the material became like this essential visual record of the Warsaw Ghetto during the war years. In the documentary, we learned that much of this footage was staged by the Nazis for a never-completed propaganda film. So all the footage that we've been watching about the Warsaw Ghetto, which we assumed was just life in the ghetto, was actually staged for a Nazi propaganda film that never got released, that never got finished.
So a little ironic, then, that stuff in the movie about that winds up being staged.
I can't believe that. That's just terrible.
Yeah.
So what happens is the director here, this guy, Yael Hersansky...
But by the way, all the dialogue is legitimately from his deposition or whatever, the transcripts. I mean, it's legitimately what he said. It just wasn't, him saying
well, you know what makes me especially angry is because, in Client 9, they don't say it initially, but they do eventually fess up early enough in the film where you don't feel totally betrayed.
Yeah.
But they do fess up to the idea that one of the escort girls that is interviewed in the film is actually an actress reading the answers from the interview. Like the director of Client 9 interviewed this one particular escort girl, but she did not want to be seen on camera. So the director hired an actress to reenact her answers.
No kidding.
And
that's terrible.
But in Client 9, he tells you that. He's up front.
Oh, that's lame.
That's not lame. Being up front is good.
No, being up front, but I mean,
what's lame is what this guy's doing, Hersansky.
Yeah. Well, it's just lame to do it in any situation at all. All right, we are fast running out of time here, so let me throw a couple of TV things at you. It's a slow week on TV. If you're still big on the wrestling thing, we get WWE stuff all the freaking time. The Big Show, A Giant's World, is about the wrestler. It's a lot of matches for the wrestler known as the Big Show, originally known as the Giant. He's been in two different wrestling leagues, WCW and WWE. And this is a lot of matches he's had under both monikers. Everybody from Hulk Hogan to Ric Flair, Nature Boy, to Stone Cold Steve Austin, to The Rock and Triple H. If you're a wrestling connoisseur, I guess there's value to that.
You're a wrestling connoisseur?
Are you a wrestling connoisseur, Mark?
I don't know that those two words have ever been
okay.
uttered in the same sentence.
And then lastly, on DVD and on Blu-ray, the complete first season of The Walking Dead from AMC. This show actually ain't bad. This is a post-apocalyptic zombie show, which you would never imagine for television to be actually something you could work on a week-to-week basis. But Frank Darabont, who did The Shawshank Redemption and has a great pedigree in horror, is the godfather of this thing, and he has done a great job. I don't know if they can keep it going past the first season, but boy, the Blu-ray is gorgeous. It is a good-looking Blu-ray. So if you, I say definitely if you're a fan of horror television, check out The Walking Dead, the complete first season. The new season starts soon, and there's a lot of great bonus features on this. With that, we will see you next week. Check us out Thursdays, 8 p.m. Pacific Time at stupidformovies.com as well. We'll see you next week.
Boy!